Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome, New Life family and friends, listeners. It's actually Chris Williams sitting in for Steve today. I have with me Becky Brown.
Hi, Chris.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Dr. Jim Burns.
Hey, Chris. Great to be with you. Always great to be with you.
Yes. So there is this strange and frustrating thing that happens, guys. Okay, so where we seemingly do the right things. Maybe it's we're attending church, we're praying the prayers, we're doing whatever, or maybe we're in the recovery meeting, or we're doing something, but the other thing inside of us that we don't like, that keeps us stuck in patterns and keeps us stuck in behaviors that are unsavory, just seem to be untouched or at least unmoved by the things that we're doing. Becky, what's this phenomenon?
Well, it's crazy making is what it is. But I'm just thinking about a caller we've talked to that went to meetings for over 20 years and nothing was changing. And so you got to wonder what is the one thing that isn't happening? And it's not one big thing. It's a lot of things. And sometimes it's not accepting that the situation is harder than you wanted it to be, or that the other person isn't going to change. It could be that you're not willing to take the step of change, but I don't know if there's an exact label that we could slap on it, but those are some of the components.
Yeah.
It's kind of my biography. I do that all the time.
Yes.
I have a good friend named John Ortberg, who's a writer and a speaker, and he always says, love God and do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Now, I've added love God and do the right thing. That's his words. And then I go and repeat daily for the rest of my life.
Yes.
And that's where, sometimes it's just about perseverance. Mm-hmm. And other times it's about tweaking it because we're trying to do the right thing. But like, for example, I'm on a diet. You two didn't notice, but I have lost, well, actually I've gained 2 pounds on my diet. Okay. So the reason I've gained the 2 pounds is because I'm not doing what I know I need to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to my small group on Tuesday and saying, okay, you guys need to help me with accountability because here's what I'm going to try to do, but I need to put my plan out in front. So having a habit is only part of it. And then now, having a goal is part of it, now creating the habit. So I think sometimes there's something we're missing or we need to tweak.
Yeah. And I think that's oftentimes it. More of an extreme example of this is like we're looking at the Titanic and we're like, is the engine room working? Is the steering wheel on? Is the, all of these things about the boat, but ignoring the iceberg and the hull.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of times we're not experiencing the transformation that we desire because we're not looking at the right thing, or there's something much deeper going on inside of us. And we see this in Scripture, especially in the New Testament. We see the desire for people wanting to make behavioral changes. Right. Mm-hmm. But God's desire is to make a heart and soul change. Sure. And to your point, Jim, that takes repeated work over and over. As I like to refer in my own life, is I need a daily conversion of Christ. But anytime there's an altar call me up. I'm there.
Chris, it reminds me though of Romans 12:1-2, which is part of New Life's saying, or our truth, our values is transformation. Let God change you, change the way that you think, renewing your mind. But the whole chapter is really a good recipe for change, and I just think a lot of times we stay in the same place just expecting change to happen without any effort on our part, and it just doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. So if you're on the line right now, hang on. We'll get right to you right after this break. And I just want to say one more thing about that. Oftentimes what it takes is a trusted person to shine a light in the dark places to see the things that we're not seeing. And so let us be that for you today. Let us help you out and give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. We're strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, June 10th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. This is Chris Williams with Dr. Jim Burns and Becky Brown. We're going to go straight to the calls. We're going to go to Gracie in Frederica, Maryland, listening on WAVA. Gracie, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Gracie, what's going on?
Oh, hi. Good to hear this conversation today. I'm sorry, my English. I'm from Brazil. My English a little crazy, but I can speak.
Gracie, what is your first language?
Portuguese.
Portuguese. I'll tell you what,
Yes.
Your English is 1,000 times better than my Portuguese. So I commend you for that. You know, as you said, your English is crazy, not nearly as crazy as my Portuguese. So how can we help you today?
Well, this is what I say. I'm married in 2005 now, but I'm separate from my husband for almost 10 years, believe it or not, but separate from different states because in the beginning he tried to bring so many girls in the house now.
So many other women in the house?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
That's why I left him. I left him in 2013 because I'm have a new job, better job, making more money anyway. And I tried to talk to him, and he now agree with me and say I'm the boss and this and this. But I'm never separate from him because I love him. Now I'm Christian too. I believe God can clean up and bring him back to me.
Okay, so
now,
Gracie, I'm going to jump in right now because you gave us a lot of good stuff. But I'm going to challenge you something. You don't love him. That's not true. You love an idea of him that he is not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Because you love the idea of someone loving you, but he is incapable of doing that. But underneath all of that, you're suffering with a terrible condition called love scarcity.
Yes.
And love scarcity is the belief that there is only a very, very limited amount of love available to you in this life. And so you start with some zero, meaning it's an absolute zero, and so something is always better than nothing. And so you're settling for a 1 when you're a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we got some decisions to make here, right? We got some processes to do. Jim, what do you think?
Gracie, let me ask you, why have you waited? I mean, you said you still loved him, but why have you waited to not divorce him? I mean, you've been separated for 10 long years.
Because I asked him, okay, you don't want to come back home. I want to apply for divorce. And he put in my face, oh, you left me. Mm-hmm. Now, that's why he said, I don't know, it's a game or something because it's convenient for him. No, and
well,
but,
Gracie, the game is also with you because you're believing the lie that he's saying that it's on you. He has left the marriage with other women and his behavior, not willing to uphold the vows, And by you not moving forward with that line that we're going to be together, and it's going to be a monogamous relationship, it's like you guys, it's like you've approved his behavior for all these years. And so the hard part is would be for you to say, okay, are you willing to do some marriage counseling? Are you willing to reset this relationship? And let's get going and let's do some counseling. And then if not, then divorce would be the option, because he's not married to you. He's with other women. He's not even honoring the vows that he made.
Yeah, they have a guy right now, like on January 20 is January. His mother passed, and I go to the funeral because I love her mother. Now he's good. I spent in the house a few times now, and he told me the funeral is in January 21st, and I invite my friend to go with me because I say I don't want to get a surprise over there. But anyway, when I walk, he have his girlfriend with him. Now, and he
there you go. Talking about.
So Gracie, you're whatever you're calling love is hurting you.
Yes.
Okay? So this is going to require some work. That means wherever you learned love was a very, very broken and damaged form of love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you have to learn to unlearn it. Okay? By the way, are you listening to us on the radio?
Yes.
Can you turn that radio down just a little bit? It's just feeding back in our ears.
Always the Jewish worshipers.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you so much. So with that, we got to learn a new definition. And that new definition is going to be harder because it's not a mental exercise. It's a lived exercise, because the first definition of love that you got was a lived experience. Does that make sense, Gracie? Yeah. Okay.
Let's try to start.
All right.
Let's try to launch.
So with that said, Gracie, what we want you to be able to do is we want you to get into some counseling. We have some phenomenal therapists there in the Washington, D.C. area that we're going to connect you with. So you're going to stay on the line after this call. We're going to get you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and that will kind of help you see what a healthy person in relationship looks like, as well as what an unhealthy person and relationship looks like as well. But Gracie, you are suffering what a lot of us deal with, and that is we accept a false form of love that masquerades, right? It masquerades as like, hey, I'll give you a little bit of attention, but I'll never fully commit to you. I'll never actually respect you, but I'll give you the promise of it. But it's sort of like this really cool, cruel trick that there is a carrot on the end of the stick that you can never get, but there's another stick that keeps whipping you the whole time. And those are relationships we need to get out of. So the other thing I would recommend is that if he says you left me, then agree with him. Yes, I did, because you were never with me. You were with somebody else. You couldn't respect this. So Gracie, again, we wish you well. We're going to cheer you on. I want to encourage you to set those boundaries, get into some help, and I would say, yeah, move forward with the divorce to move beyond this if he is unwilling to do the things that it's going to require to change. So thank you so much for calling in today. And we're going to go to Anita listening. Yes, we're going to go to Anita in Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. Anita, are you there?
Yes.
All right, Anita, talk to us. What's going on today?
Okay. I have a 21-year-old. I've called you all before, and daughter, and she has been through human trafficking when she was younger. We sought help. We did get help, some help, but then she stopped. She hasn't dealt with the trauma. And I was telling her, in order for you to go forward, you have to deal with your trauma.
Mm-hmm.
We can support you as a family, but that's as far as we can go.
Yeah.
And we're in the midst of moving, and I don't want the drugging or the alcohol to follow. So I was telling her, you have to make a choice. She chose to live with her boyfriend. She looked at the house. She said, I'm going to go live with my boyfriend. I can't stay here in the house, new place.
Mm-hmm.
She has 2 children that I have custody of. So my question is the boundaries.
Yeah.
We're really tired of stuff. We're just tired of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
That is a lot of stuff. Just real quickly, remind us, how did she how was she lured into human trafficking?
Well, she had a friend in high school. She would stay out. She never stayed out, and she would stay out late. Then it got later and later, and then it was a day. Then it was 2 days. So we had truancy involved because she was still in school.
Yeah.
And then she stated, Ma, there was sexual abuse by an older sibling. And we didn't find that out until she went through the pain with the other part, which is human trafficking. And I didn't find that out until we was going into court one day for one thing, and they told me, and I'm like, what are you talking about, clean your house?
Yeah.
We're waiting for the judge, and I'm like, oh. And then it finally came out, and I'm like, as a parent, you're like going back in time, like, where was I?
No, I know that had to.
Wasn't I?
Yes, that had to have been devastating for you, for sure. Yes.
It was. It's a bit much.
Yeah, Becky, what do you think?
Well, I'm wondering, Anita, what happened with the sibling that victimized her to begin with? Where did he go, or what happened?
He left. He had to leave.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm just thinking about your grandkids, and I don't know if he's done time, but I'm just thinking about safety. Whenever you have a situation like what you're describing with your daughter, the boundaries come in. You know, we always talk about boundaries. It's like a fence around your yard. We talked about this yesterday. And you have a gate, and you open and close that gate to the things you want in and the things you want to let out. And we expect that feels good and right. And yet at the same time, setting boundaries and maintaining boundaries can be painful and difficult. And I think that the expectation is that your daughter would see the good that you guys have done for her and that she would make better choices. The sad part is that she's probably not, if she hasn't at this point. I'm not saying that she won't ever, but it's one of those things where you're going to say, we're going to go and we want you to get into help, and we want you to live a clean, sober, healthy life. And until then, we'll take care of the kids. We'll raise them the best that we can and hope for the best. I mean, and I'm sure, I don't know if you are, Anita, but it'll require you to do some work with recovery yourself, whether it's a life recovery group or counseling. But the boundaries are, you're going to have to decide what you want in your house, and then you got to open and shut the door that way.
Exactly. And we had that conversation, and she's like, well, Mom, you're just going to throw me out. I said, I haven't thrown you out. It's not about throwing you out. It's about
it's her decisions.
What you need to do.
Right.
Well, you know what we're talking about, Anita, is we're talking about tough love. And tough love, because she is a 21-year-old, and believe me, it's so complicated, and I feel deeply for you. I feel deeply for her. It's not easy. But tough love says, as an adult, she's going to make a decision. And sometimes what we have to do is not ever be mean or vengeful or put our anger on it, but we just simply do this. We just simply allow her to experience the circumstances of her decisions. The circumstances of her decisions, you know where that's going to go. And so when you live with a tough love, you have the boundaries. Yes, you express your expectations. Here's what we expect. You love on those kids, and you're doing that. God bless you for doing that. And at the same time, she's going to have to make that decision. When she crashes, notice, I'm guessing it's not if, but sometime, because of her background and all that she's doing, when she crashes, then you could possibly be that safe person. So, you give the boundaries, and she goes, no, you're throwing me out. Well, no, honey, I'm not. Here's the boundaries. Here's the expectations in this house. And as an adult, you can choose whether you're going to live with these or not, but it's my home. It's our kid. We're with these kids. If she goes, there's a chance that she's going to come back. And if she does, then she'll come back under your boundaries, and it may be the best thing for her.
Absolutely. And there's one more thing, in working with the human trafficking cases that I have, there is a brainwashing that is so profound.
Yes.
Right? It is so profound.
Yes.
I would highly recommend you get an interventionist here and to get her into the treatment that she needs. As you hold to the boundaries in which you're talking about. So you hear the music, and we're going to come right back after the break, and we're going to finish up here and give you some good direction as we travel down this road. But if you're out there, you're listening, you need a therapist, we got a whole network of them. It's at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Give us a call if you need that. We'll be right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Anita. And Anita, with your daughter suffering from her own childhood sexual trauma, suffering from being a victim of human trafficking, and then obviously, and I say this as not that it's automatic, but it makes sense that she would be struggling with self-medicating her pain through addictive substances. So there are so many layers here and so complicated. And to the point I wanted to make before we went to the break is that families are terrible treatment programs.
What a great statement.
We just are. We're not equipped. We're not the professionals. And so she needs a really, really strong treatment program. And that's why I recommended an interventionist. We work with interventionists here at New Life. We can easily get you connected to one. But as Becky mentioned, doing your own work, because you're going to be carrying a lot. There's a lot of that guilt and maybe even shame that has crept in through the suffering of your daughter, and even just the pain of watching your own child go through this. So getting into your own recovery program, your own therapy would be really, really good here. And Becky mentioned something really, really important as we were talking about this at the break, and that is we want to be very, very aware and responsible to the narratives we teach our children. So those two little kids in your home, entrusted to your care, how we talk about this, we want to be truth tellers, but we also want to shape a new narrative. You know, that yes, your mom has struggled really deeply with some things that are inside of her, and she's unable to make good choices, unfortunately. And we are a family that is moving towards healing and health and growth so that we can become people of God's wisdom that make good choices. And you are good kids going to be making good choices.
Mm-hmm.
And so shaping in that direction over and reinforcing in that direction, because when these things happen in our families, what we tend to do is we parent out of reactive fear instead of proactive encouragement.
Yes, sir.
And so we want...
Anita, and I'm wondering, Anita, does that resonate with you, or are you already doing something along that line? Where are you having difficulty in this relationship?
One is we had something called Fair Girls. They were human trafficking in D.C. An agency, and we went through that. And now Kimberly's going back to, as she stated, back to that. And I'm like, what are they helping you with? But we don't know if the information is true.
Yeah.
It's like you say stuff that sounds good.
Right. But what I'm saying, Anita, what I'm saying is, in your home, you have her children. What is the story that you're telling them, or how are you responding to their questions about their mom? Or just raising kids is hard. So you got, two different things going on here. And what I want to encourage you is to get the support you need in order for you not to be in reactive grandparenting/parenting. So that your daughter does her work, you do yours, so that these children grow up with a different perspective on life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now this is what we're doing. Mom is not physically out of the house. We're moving any day now, waiting for an inspection. Once we leave, things put in place as far as what I just stated. Now, with the kids, it's always me since birth now.
Yeah.
Had to pick up and do what I need to do in the midst of all this other stuff. Mom is still coming and going in the house. Old address. And they get to see their mom, but it's no time with them.
Yeah.
Because she's either busy trying to go wherever she's going, and she's out.
Right. So but Anita, that's what I'm saying, is that there's a lot, but when you move, there's going to be a transition, and you're raising these kids, and there has to be support and, conversation about, we're going to take care of you. We're not leaving you.
Right. No, we're not leaving. And I wouldn't leave him. That's why I pushed for full custody. It was joint custody just to see what Mom going to do in 2019. See what she's going to do. I'm going to do this. Fell through, or whatever the case may have been. Then I pushed for full custody.
Yeah, that's good.
And so that's what I did.
Well, Anita, it's also really good to hear that you're connected with support groups out there that specialize in human trafficking. Again, that's why I wanted to connect with it, and to see if we can get your daughter to the right place as you're working on parenting and guiding these two children who are also going through their own difficult time. We commend you for that. I mean, Anita, you are doing a phenomenal work here, and we want to support you in doing that. We're going to send you a copy of Healing as a Choice, and knowing that will provide some pieces of the puzzle of what's needed along the journey. And we're cheering you on, friend. And praying for you, praying for your daughter and those grandchildren that you're so lovingly taking care of. Listen, we do what we do here at New Life because we get a partner with so many phenomenal people that provide financial resources to keep us going, to keep gas in the tank. And so if you're out there and you want to give, because the month of May is the time to do it. Anything you give in May is going to be doubled. It's going to be matched by some other generous donors of ours. So please, if that's a consideration, if you have benefited from our ministry or see the benefit of it, please give today. You can go online at www.newlife.com to do just that. We'll be back.
New Life Ministries saved my completely broken marriage.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is broken? New Life can help. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
3.5 years later, we're still going strong, and I would encourage really anybody who's struggling in their marriage to go to a New Life workshop. They are more effective than anything else we tried.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, it's Chris Williams. I want to mention workshop coming up. If you're a man who struggles with sexual integrity, and this is something that, it's been part of my story, been part of many people's story. It's a torturous existence. And what we oftentimes don't realize is that, of course, we're hurting the people around us, but what we can't see and what we're blinded to is how much we are harming ourselves in this process. Mm-hmm. Guys, this self-harm that we're doing through our sexual acting out does not have to continue. In fact, we're going to make it really, really accessible to you in the month of May. We have our online offering of Every Man's Battle. So go to our website, www.newlife.com. It's coming up May 13th. It will be a day that you will enter into a doorway into a new life that you can carry out from there to show up and be different, no longer harming yourself and the people around you, that you can feel better, think better, and show up better to life and not have to deal with this hidden pain and shame that you carry around inside of you. So check that out. We also have Restored coming up. If you're a woman who has been hurt and traumatized, deeply impacted by the infidelity and sexual betrayal of a significant other in your life, then we're also offering that online June 10th. So don't suffer in silence here. There is no need for that. There is hope and healing. As we say here, hope and healing in life's hardest places. This is a hard place. Join us for those. Right now, we're going to go to Marsha in Boston, Massachusetts, listening on YouTube. Marsha, are you there?
I am.
Yeah, what's going on?
Thank you for taking my call. So I have a question for you. So I am part of a Facebook group of women.
Uh-huh.
And it's a Christian group. And earlier today, one of the ladies posted that this past Sunday she was assaulted. And she is very angry, and she said during the assault, while it was happening, she was praying to God and just asking him not to let this person assault her. And she had other issues going on as well, she listed. But it happened anyway, and she's so angry, and she's thinking that, God doesn't love her. He didn't answer her prayer. Why did he allow this to happen? So she's struggling there. And I want to, people are putting their input in the comments, and I want to, but I needed some help. I needed some verbiage. I needed to know how to answer, but also to give her some hope, that God, even though this horrible thing happened to her, that,
was she assaulted in the context of her church community?
No. She was walking and she was sexually assaulted.
That's brutal.
She was on a walk and she said a guy grabbed her from behind and sexually assaulted her.
Yeah.
Did she report it to Marsha?
So she didn't elaborate in her post, what steps she took. She was just, venting about, having so much faith, and then, this happened to her, this bad thing happened to her. So
why do bad things happen to good people? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to comment, but I just wanted to be careful, as to what to say. I didn't want to just spiritualize it. I want to also, let her know that, I don't know. I just reach out to you people because I know you always have the right answers.
Well, Marsha, I want to commend you for your wisdom. There is deep godly wisdom here in not rushing to an answer. We see this in the book of Job. Job's friends were fantastic the first 7 days. They didn't say a word, but they showed up with their presence. And their presence was the communication of care and love in a very difficult and painful situation. They got in trouble when they opened up their mouths and they tried to speak for God where God had not spoken. We call that using the Lord's name in vain. Now, oftentimes, we're not doing this intentionally, but oftentimes we're uncomfortable with the pain and suffering that doesn't make sense. So we jump to explanation to explain it away rather than to love it as it's suffering. Another thing that we like to do is that we see people angry with God and we get uncomfortable with that, and we try then, like Job's friends, to tell them why they have no right to be angry with God, where God did not say that, right? Because anger, and I want to get some help from my friends here in the studio today, but I do want to say this. Anger is our God-given response to suffering and injustice in the world. I want to say that again. It's our God-given response. Now, the Bible gives warnings on just a couple of emotional experiences, and anger is one of them, right? Don't sin in your anger. Don't let the sun go down. There's a lot of boundaries. Don't be easily angered, because we can do a lot of sin. We can do a lot of harm out of our anger, but it doesn't say don't be angry. And we see that God gets angry because of injustice in the world. So, yeah.
Marsha, I was thinking that sometimes Facebook groups also, they mean well totally, and every person who's in that Facebook group does mean well. But, what he's saying is, I call this the power of being there. One thing you may want to think about is if she's in the area, she may really appreciate just you coming by, stopping by. I think people regard your very presence as a sign of caring and connectedness. And sometimes you don't have to say you want to say a word, but you don't have to say always the right words. I had an experience once in my own life where a young woman talked about being abused, and she was in a room with her youth pastor, and I had no idea what to say. And all of a sudden, I just started to tear up, and I said, "Can I just pray for you?" And then we all teared up, and this young girl said later that in the moment of tears, she remembered a scripture that she had that Jesus wept, shortest verse in the Bible, right? And she said, I just sensed that, I'm not calling Jim or, the youth worker Jesus, but in the tears, through the tears, she said she felt a healing. And she still need to work through some of the process, of course. But sometimes what you can do is not have to give the right great answer. We live in a fallen world. It's a horrible fallen world. And so what I think sometimes what we need to do is saddle up next to them, show them love, show them empathy, show them care, and then point them in the direction to go get the help and healing. That's why we are here at New Life. But for you as a friend, she needs to know you feel her pain.
The presence can be experienced, Marsha, just by you saying, I am so sorry that this happened to you. And I am praying for strength and healing.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked if she had reported it, because that's part of it. So many women who experience assault they feel so much shame, as if, this is something that they chose, and it isn't. But they need the help and the support to report these things, to make sure that she's okay from the trauma that she just experienced. The question of God's love for her, or God allowing this to happen, has been asked by so many people over the centuries. That's why Chris is talking about Job. And, you're right. You do want to be careful with your response, but I think I'm so sorry. I'm praying for you. I hear you. And if there's anything you need, DM me and I'll, we'll connect. But I just think presence is the answer.
Hey, we need a lot more Marshas out there.
Yep.
That take a pause, that understand the gravity of the situation, and seek counsel and wisdom. And Marsha, just, all I can do is just echo exactly what Becky has said. When what I would do, I would not post on the comments. I would send a direct message on DM to her. And again, giving your phone number and just saying, I am so sorry. I wish I had words, but I don't. I just feel so heartbroken for you. But I'm here for you. Give me a call. I'd love to grab coffee again if it's possible, if she's in that area. Because
it's so good, because you guys have this group where you feel supported. But as we're experiencing these technological connections, there's got to be something deeper, and that's why you're so invested in her. And I love that idea, Chris. The direct message is a good way to go.
Yeah, and that's for all of us out there. When we're encountering people with deep suffering that feels beyond our ability to care well for, and I give this counsel to pastors all the time. You overestimate your words and underestimate your presence. Let's reverse that. You need to value the communication of love through your presence, and know that your words are very limited. God created us as connected beings, and that connection is significant. So thank you, Marsha, and we're going to send you.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, May 13th. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800 639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we are going to go straight to the phones. We're going to try to get one more call in there. We're going to go to Thomas in Los Angeles, California, listening on YouTube. Thomas in LA, how you doing today, man?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. How can we help you?
Yes, please. We are divorced. I have 2 kids. My daughter, she's 24 years old, and my son, 18 years old. And I end up facing financial issue. And my daughter, she doesn't understand. She doesn't want to hear it. And not either my ex.
Okay, so go back to I'm so sorry, Thomas. I didn't quite catch that. So you ran into a financial issue, and then what?
I live in an apartment, and they live in my house.
Uh-huh.
So I'm putting my house for sale, and my daughter, she's not happy, and my son is not happy. They both are angry, because I'm selling the house. And my ex, she goes to me, if you want, you could, but you don't want to. I said, no, I'm just telling you the truth. I can't keep borrowing money, and I cannot make it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
today,
selling the house becomes necessary for your financial well-being.
Correct.
Yeah. But reasonably, your children are pretty upset about that.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, but you know what, Thomas, first of all, I want to say thanks for watching on YouTube. We love our YouTube family. But Thomas, here's the thing. They're old enough to have an adult conversation about this. Like, we're not talking about 12-year-olds that, you're responsible for. I don't know what the arrangement was, but, this is the difficulty of divorce, right? It's like, it's financial, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's all of that. And they're going to be upset. But I think that whatever the discussion is, this is an adult conversation for the whole family, even though that there is a divorce. And, give them enough time for them to find a place to live and for you to work this out with them financially. I don't know what their expectations are, but I think it's a bigger conversation. I don't know, Jim, have you heard anything like this before?
All the time. It's the, what happens is when we are going in debt or when we're struggling, we call it, of course, the money pit. And so I think it's really it's very important, Thomas, and I think you said it, Becky, is we sit down, we have an adult to an adult conversation. Now, sometimes when they're the age of your kids, they're really young adults. We call them emerging adults. But a lot of times they're going to want to move back into younger stage the way they're going to treat you and talk to you. But you want to talk to them as an adult and say, I've looked at all the options, be very logical, and don't expect them to go, yay. It's like when your kids were 16. Right, and your kids were 16, and they said, they wanted something, and you go, "Hey, I'm in charge. This is it." Well, this is kind of the case with them. Okay, and so I think it's really important that you have that story. Where you just sit down and do that. And again, I actually talk about this in the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. Keep your mouth shut and the welcome that out. I actually have a chapter on finances, and part of it is not taking care of our adult children. Their job is to become responsible adults, but also to become responsible with finances. And they're going to see you being responsible because you can't do anything but sell the house. That's the long run, and that's important for you to be able to do.
The other aspect of this, Thomas, is that it's not just the selling of the house. It's what the house represents. For whatever, we don't know the details of the story, but however the divorce happened, and the family that started is not the family that is, but that house represents the family that was. And there's a lot of loss in there. And what the house does is it can represent that a tangible representation. That's really important. It's a tangible representation of that loss, as it was maybe a tangible representation of what was. And that's really, really hard. And speaking to the young adults, the emerging adults, I some of my own very different circumstances in there, but I just remember my parents moving out of my childhood home, and it was my mom, my stepdad, and I felt a deep loss in that. I felt like man, it had played such a significant part. So I want you to be graceful with your children, but again, to have those honest and open conversations with them about that.
It's interesting, though, Chris, even like you just said, we all will leave our home of origin for many different reasons. And so there will be grief. So it gets mixed in with the realities of life. And we as individuals, your kids, your ex-wife, all of us have to build in that resilience of bad things will happen, but I have resources to work through this. And what do I need to do in order to make this change, this transition, and how do I maintain relationship in this transition? And that's where the work is. But I'm not sure what book you're going to refer to, Thomas, but I'm curious.
Well, we're definitely going to refer Doing Life with Your Adult Children.
Oh, that's a perfect one.
Yep. So we're gonna send you Jim's book, and I want to mention one more thing about this. I was actually doing some writing in the book that I've been working on this, and on the other side of loss, we don't talk about something that I think God has given us that is critically important, and that is our creativity, our ability to make something new. And I think this is an essential transition for any young adult out there, or any person that has gone through a divorce, any person who has loved a loved one, is that yes, we grieve, but we're not like those who grieve without hope. But some of that hope is wrapped up into, and now what? And now what is an important question, because I think it requires us a new level of what I call empowered creativity, is that God is working with us to make something new. In each loss or in each challenge that human beings have encountered throughout human history, just in our lifetime, HIV/AIDS was a death sentence. But through human ingenuity and creativity, it is no longer that. It is remarkable the amount of creativity that God has put in us. And it's hard and it's scary and it's challenging. But I think that one of the things that we need to be instilling in the younger people, the younger generations, is just that, a renewed sense of ingenuity and hope and creativity and working with the things around you. And that's what we become really dangerous about, a consumer culture where we're just takers, but we need to know there is so much more joy and excitement and possibility and impact in being contributors and creators. Yeah.
I love that.
Hey, Thomas, you know what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel too, because they are going to go through that grief, but there's something on the other side. It's exactly what Chris was saying, and you know what? You're going to model that for them, and you want to be around people because you have a loss too.
Yeah.
So all these people are giving you, your ex and your kids are saying no, but you're making a good decision. So if I was your friend and we're having coffee, I'd go, you know what? It's a bummer that they don't like it, but you're still making the best decision you can make for your financial good. And actually, that ends up being the good for the family as well. So get around some people, tell them that story, and they're going to say, good job, Thomas, for being a good steward of your money.
Well, and I'm gonna take a note from Steve, and I'm gonna also send you a copy of the book Trust. If you donate anything in the month, or no, I guess that was April. But if you donate anything in May, it'll be doubled. Thank you so much for being with us today, and stick with us. And you have a blessed day.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.